everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Our Leaders, Our Inspiration. Today, I have the incredible honor of having the UK Ambassador to Indonesia with me on this podcast, Mr. Dominic Jeremey. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador.
Hey, very good to see you, Shanna.
Very good to see you too. First of all, I would like to thank you so much for the honor and for your time and for welcoming me to the UK Embassy. This is my first time here.
Very good. You're extremely welcome. We're sitting in the UK Embassy garden, which is a beautiful spot.
Very beautiful garden, and thank you for this beautiful afternoon set. Actually, may I ask, what do you call this in the UK, sir?
Well, this would be called high tea.
High tea.
High tea is an old English tradition where you have scones, you have something savoury, you often have sandwiches. And I remember as a kid going to high tea, and the sandwiches would be kind of curled up and dry at the edge. These are nice, fresh sandwiches. So at its best, it is delicious, and it just fills that gap between lunch and dinner.
Which one would you say is your favorite?
Oh, I think you've got to have, if I may,
a
scone with jam and cream. There you go. Look at that.
Yes.
Looks delicious, doesn't it?
Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
That looks delicious.
Excellent.
And I heard that actually in different parts of the UK,
Uh-huh.
people put the icing on the scones differently. Is that
That's
true?
Right. That's right. So there is an argument depending on where you're from.
Oh.
And there are two
yes.
arguments. One is whether you call this a scone or a
scone.
scone. And my mother is from Scotland, and so we call it a scone. And people have bitter arguments about this. And then the other argument, I'm only joking, the other argument is whether you put the cream on first and then the jam, or the jam on first and then the cream.
Oh, so this is the jam first and then the cream.
That's right. And I'm afraid I've never quite understood the other way around, but there are people who are passionate supporters of cream first.
I see.
There you go. It's a bit like, in Indonesia, everybody loves their different sambal. In the UK, it's about how you have your scones.
Oh, and for the tea as well, have you ever tried Indonesian tea, sir?
Oh, yes.
Do you think there's any difference?
Wow, there are so many different Indonesian teas. And teas originally don't come from the UK, whereas many different sorts of teas grow here in Java, in other parts of Indonesia. And so, I love trying different teas from different parts of Indonesia. It's a real pleasure.
Yes, because they taste different sometimes.
They taste very different. Do you have a favorite?
I'm not really a tea drinker, actually.
Oh,
yes.
goodness me!
But I would love to try this. If I may?
Please do. Let us
toast
there you go.
to some tea.
Absolutely. Have some tea. Delicious.
Yes, this is delicious.
It's very good.
There's some sweetness to it.
Yeah, excellent. There you go. And you have it in His Majesty's crockery with the crown on there.
Such an honor. Okay, so to begin, I'd like to touch on a few key global events, both recent and upcoming, that relate to the UK's role and its relationship with Indonesia. I heard that the UK is discussing a strategic partnership with Indonesia.
We are.
Could you tell us a bit more about this?
Sure. So this is our two countries saying that there are some really important global issues that we want to work together on. And these are economic growth. So President Prabowo wants to get 8% growth for Indonesia, and Prime Minister Starmer wants to have the fastest growing economy of the G7, the world's largest economies, the 7 largest economies of the world. And one of the ways of doing that is by trading together, by increasing the number of exports and investment. We want to work together on defense and security, on climate and nature, preserving the incredible biodiversity of Indonesia, and working together to reduce climate change. And then we want to work together on what I describe as people and society. So that's education, on supporting healthcare in both countries, and on creative industries and economy. So that's a pretty big agenda in our strategic partnership.
Yes. And is the plan to sign this strategic partnership this year, or is it for next year?
So President Prabowo and Prime Minister Starmer agreed they would launch this strategic partnership towards the end of 2025, so this year. We're recording this in October, and I hope during November we will see the two great leaders coming together to do a big launch
Yes.
of our strategic partnership.
Well, hopefully this collaboration can bring positive change for both countries.
I'm certain it will.
Yes. And on the topic of climate change, this upcoming November, both the UK and Indonesia will be participating in COP30 in Brazil. And as climate change is one of the most urgent global challenges that we are currently facing today, how do you see the role of young people in making meaningful contributions, both nationally and internationally? And if we want to make a difference, where do we start?
That's a great question, Shanna. So it's going to be young people, it's your generation, not mine, who are going to be dealing with the consequences of climate change.
Yes.
And we need to take decisions now that will limit those consequences and limit the negative impact of climate change. And that means that we need COP30 to be ambitious in each country coming together and setting its limits on how much carbon their country is going to pump out to reduce climate change together. And I think that for Indonesia, you are a biodiversity superpower. You have these incredible forests, third largest tropical forests in the world, that can be, if you like, the lungs of the world, a really important role for Indonesia, but also for the planet. And the challenge is, at the moment, you and we, as well as the United Kingdom, we are what they call net carbon emitters. So instead of absorbing carbon, we're still creating more. And for Indonesia, you have these amazing forests, and yet you're still emitting more carbon than you absorb. And so, as young people, my advice is to become activists, to get concerned. If you're in school, if you're in university, then ask your teachers, ask your organization, what are they doing to reduce their carbon emissions? If you are old enough to vote, then how are you asking your candidates what their policies are on climate change? If you are meeting foreigners like the British ambassador, are you challenging them? Are you lobbying them for their countries to grip climate change and to be ambitious at COP30? This is something where it's a really good example where diplomats, where businesses, where civil society, where academia all need to come together to reach a consensus on how we as a planet are going to approach this differently. And young people can play a really important role with the pressure they put on, with the demands they make for answers, and also with the decisions you take about how you live your life and do your jobs, and whether you take public transport sustainably or whether you always go everywhere in private transport, whether you make choices for recycling your waste. All these individual choices can really mount up to have an impact at scale for your country and for your planet.
Yes. Would you say that the young people now are already well aware of what's happening, or do you think that we should still raise more awareness about climate change?
Goodness me. So I've got, in my family, where I have one son who's just left university, I've got a daughter who's just gone to university. I think they are incredibly aware. You are really absolutely asking the right questions. So I'd say you're very aware. I think there is climate anxiety out there. So that's young people who feel really anxious about what's happening to the climate and what it will be like in 10 years, 20 years time. And that's not a good thing. I'm really sorry that that's the reaction that they have to the really concerning news, but it does represent that people care about it. And so I think, Shanna, your work that you do through podcasts, the work that my team do talking about climate change, trying to get the message out there is incredibly important, because I don't think we care enough.
Yeah.
If we cared enough, then we would already have the policies in place and have taken the decisions that would stop the increase in temperature. And we haven't done that. So my short answer is no, young people don't care enough, and nor do my generation. And you and I, we've got to change it.
Yes, because I think awareness is the key. When we're aware of our actions and the impact of our actions, we become more knowledgeable and more mindful of what we do to our
I think
planet.
you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Building on the importance of awareness and acting on global issues, I understand that recently the UK officially recognized the Palestinian state. In this context, what is your perspective on the role and responsibility of youth in contributing to and preserving global peace?
So, for the United Kingdom, representing the Palestinian state was a really important part of our efforts to try and make the two-state solution a reality. And the reason that we recognized the state of Palestine, and that we did that now, is to try and use that as part of the momentum to create a realistic pathway to Palestinian statehood. And that is the objective we want. And we absolutely want to see the Israeli hostages freed by Hamas. That's got to happen immediately. And I'm so pleased there's been progress recently, but we also need to see the return of the dead bodies. We need to see massive reconstruction and development assistance going into Gaza, but also a global community coming together to support the creation and the development of that viable Palestinian state. That's going to require billions of dollars and years of support and engagement. So we really want to be part of that. And I think that young people have played such an important role through being very clear in what they've been demanding of their governments. Here in Indonesia, in the United Kingdom, we've seen demonstrations often led by students who care passionately about this issue and about many other issues. But I think that has been critically important in ensuring that politicians and officials like me are really focused on what's going to make a difference to stop the suffering. And so I think probably the most important thing is being an active citizen, exercising your right to vote, making sure that your member of parliament or the DPR knows what your opinions are on a subject, and being part of that community in university or in school or in organizations. They could be religious organizations like Muhammadiyah, NU, they could be civil organizations, civil society organizations, playing your role in those organizations, and also getting the message out there through podcasts.
Yes, because I think everyone aspires to live in a peaceful world in the future. And so, especially since the youth are the future decision makers and the future leaders of the world, I think that it's really important. And which is why it is crucial to start equipping the youth today with knowledge and values needed to address future global